Hello and welcome. I am Archangel. You are here because you are trying to understand male movements and what they are complaining about. Maybe you have come across rumors or whispers of guys clustered together online and complaining about stuff like females or relationships or inequities against themselves. And you wonder what is wrong with them because you, possessing logic and control of your mental faculties, you have a clear understanding of the world and humanity, and everybody knows that guys cause the problems in life. Females are the abused victims, right? I mean, for crying out loud, we have crime, poverty, corporate and governmental corruption, human trafficking, reality TV, and females forced to wear burqas. It's clear who's oppressed and who does the oppressing. So how do guys find the audacity to complain about anything, especially when they have privilege? So these men's groups must be off their rockers, or they are despicable hate mongers. Yes? This is the consensus of 90% of the population, and many people have given their interpretation on what men's rights or MGTOW or male spaces are all about. But the garden variety critic will evaluate male claims through the socially accepted filter of male oppression, female victimization. And the folly of most people's interpretation of male groups is that you cannot see actuality when you speak from bias. So I will give you the raw, unadulterated truth that you will most likely deny and reject. Beware, this may be a rabbit hole you wish to avoid, for if you allow information osmosis to occur, it will completely upend your understanding of life. Back out now if you like your illusions of romance, apple pie, and Chevrolet. You may have heard conspiracy theories regarding UFOs or JFK's assassination, and you think your BS meter is savvy enough to detect crazy baloney. And so what I have to say will most certainly offend your sensibilities. But, like it or not, I will give you a truth no one can or will admit, because it is an abuse we all enable, and widespread denial of this truth happens because we do not want to face our personal part in exploitation. Ready? So, males, privileged oppressors obsessed with sex, you know them. What could dudes possibly have to complain about? Quite simply, males are starting to denounce unfair, even abusive treatment. Okay, well, what causes this mistreatment? Value discrepancy between sexes. And what determines either sex's relative human value? Human life prioritization is essentially based upon reproductive roles. Uteruses have a more substantial, time-intensive role in successful replication of human life. Hence, we value females over males as a matter of course. And so when we center our attention and devote our concerns to human female welfare over human male welfare, this is called gynocentrism. Females being represented with the prefix gyno, and their protection and welfare is what we center our priorities on. Hence the suffix centric or centrism. And when we boil everything down and strip male complaints and treatment objections to their core, ultimately, gynocentrism is the root cause of the problems males complain about. Essentially, because of procreative pressure, humans have embraced gynocentrism, and gynocentrism requires the devaluing of males, and devaluation is where all the legal, social, interpersonal abuse and usury of males finds its origin. And despite most males' ignorance, it's not feminism or political correctness nor liberalism that causes inequity for males. Gynocentrism is the root. You want to understand the reason for men's rights or MGTOW, for men's groups or male movements, or males around the globe clustered together to complain? Comprehend gynocentrism in all its ramifications, and you will understand. Ha ha! Not quite the answer you were expecting, huh? Thought you might hear about divorce inequities or man-hating feminists. Well, all those items, indeed, the things you hear guys complain about, are eventualities, symptoms of gynocentrism. I want you to understand the truth beneath all the lies, misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda surrounding males. And thus far, I bet you're having a little bit of trouble giving the raping, murdering, plundering sex any sympathy. Yes? Well, you are not alone, and this is precisely what dudes are bellyaching about. Okay, for a second, suspend what you think you know about reality. Ignore what you have seen in the media or pop culture. Disregard what you have heard from others, because everything from the painted image to the written word, whether in our entertainment or our sources of news or our legal mandates, everything has agenda. You see, the world we know is cleverly crafted with deception and illusion, and these are unpleasant machinations that belie the smoke and mirror trickery that we know as life. There is subterfuge in our world that most will never understand, nor admit had they knowledge of it. This is a world of propaganda dancing before everyone's eyes, a social blanket of rhetoric draped over us in order to steer the general populace beliefs and actions towards a biased end. On the surface, we are fed indoctrination that invokes males as abusive totalitarians who destroy and plunder. We are coached with portrayals of males as being unhygienic toddler ogres who ruin and suppress females. Yet this is the very wool being pulled over our eyes, the matrix that occupies our minds and directs our thoughts. Because what is happening behind the happy pastel storefronts is completely different. We think males abuse and oppress females. However, it is male life and blood used to build, maintain, and protect civilization. Males are made to toil and labor and die for female welfare. Male worth, dreams, and creations are marginalized, dismissed as we go about the business of protecting uteruses at the behest of procreation, which is our basal edict. The surface propaganda shows us images of fat, disgusting men with fleshy, bulbous features running government, corporation, and religion, who laugh and slap each other on the back as they dominate the female populace forced to serve them. We see representations of cruel, heartless, egomaniacal, psychotic males, who make up the criminal population of murderers and rapists trolling dark alleys, or molesters cruising playgrounds, preying upon the weak and helpless. We are fed further images of males basking in wealth, such as the womanizing self-indulgent rock stars or media moguls, and lest we forget our saturation in the terrorist male archetype, who set off bombs or shoot up schools or run cults. We are fed negativity about males over and over and over, resulting in our male villainy, female victimization atmosphere, where male prejudice and mistreatment becomes the norm. Everybody has been entrained with the villainous male, angelic female archetypal ideology of society. Yet, the reality behind these shiny wrapping paper facades is that these villains are emotionally abused and manipulated by females. These ogres are mistreated in family and criminal courts, which favor females. These bad guys are divorced of their wants or needs or desires, brainwashed by family and romance indoctrination into taking on the liability of hungry mouths and a tax machine. These plunderers are dying in war and hazardous occupations just to maintain this world, so that we can sit in our air-conditioned shelters and argue over whether males are mistreated at all. The fake reality speaks of male privilege and excessive hedonistic debauchery. However, the true state of reality finds something quite different. Males are not the privileged class. They are the enslaved class. Males are miserable oxen, cajoled, nagged, and shamed, even forced into carrying a gynocentric society. Males are coached into taking females' verbal, emotional, and physical abuse without thought of reciprocation or fairness, because enduring abuse is labeled as honorable, being a man. Males are also made to endure abuse from fellow males as they compete and tear each other down over females and resources that they mean to hoard for the females charged in their care. Males are made to toil, labor, and die for the protection of the uteruses. Males get saturated with mom's prejudice against males and dad's acquiescing to inequity. The truth behind the window dressing of male privilege and patriarchy, which makes up the world you think you understand, is that the general male populace is actually used, abused, then discarded. And to hide injustice, males are bamboozled into thinking that they have the honor of being stepping stones, doormats, and cannon fodder for a society and a sex that marginalizes male welfare in favor of their own. we enculturate each new generation of males with this martyrdom mentality, and their only reward is the consolation that their toil and sacrifice serves the greater good of human continuity into the future. Are you with me so far? Please hold your objections and arguments. You are here for the truth, right? You want to know what all these men and men's groups are whining about, right? Well, because of procreative machinations, humans are gynocentric and always have been. Argue wage gaps and oppression ad infinitum, yet gynocentrism is insurmountable truth, and the byproduct of gynocentrism is that males get devalued, demoted to disposability. Males, not females, are the slave class. This is what precipitates the mistreatments that males now cluster online to complain about. But then, if human value is based upon sexual reproductive anatomy, then that means males have always been considered expendable. Yes, now you are starting to see behind the illusion of the matrix of male privilege and patriarchy, and you see how deep and how long males have been devalued. Yeah, but humanity has survived just fine for centuries on this male disposability paradigm. Why the sudden influx of outrage now? Quite simply, wealth and technology has antiquated traditionalism. You see, what has kept the male populace sedated and quelled their potential objection to disposability throughout the centuries was the traditionalist compromise. Males would labor and fight and tend to societal affairs, and females would tend to domestics. And in exchange for protection and provision, females would defer to males. Thus, males seemed to enjoy more control, and hence pack organization, social hierarchy molded itself to this family unit paradigm. This cooperative agreement between antagonistic sexes was essentially a division of labor, as neither sex could build, fight, and tend children. However, despite its successful longevity, the traditionalist archetype is gynocentric and inequitable for males, again due to the mechanics of human reproduction, which favor protection of that which gestates fetuses. Meaning, even amongst traditionalism, the male is still privy to disposability, despite positions of societal power. Guys still die protecting females, which necessarily means females relish superior life value. Females are elevated and exalted, not males, as we are brainwashed into believing. This template of males tending civilization and females tending family has changed. It is an inevitable human cycle. Humans cluster together in packs. Packs cluster together into communities, and communities into civilizations. And as societies attain wealth and technology, which fattens the coffers of governing bodies, then females, obeying instincts to continually pull more and better quality provision to themselves. Thus females use their influence and wiles to court this new institution of abundance, usually in the form of a governing body of power, which can legitimize female entitlements through legislation. And where females go, males follow, because males seek the validation of the sex that has superior life worth. And eventually some body representing female interests arises, and feminism is the designation of the organization established to represent female interests in society. And it ultimately seeks supremacy of females, using males to enforce their own depreciation and expendability. Why do guys complain now? Because males still play by traditionalist rules. Females do not. Females quit playing their demure, submissive roles. Yet males still continue to play protector-provider, which was their agreed-upon role. Males still die protecting females. Yet females no longer submit to domestic subordinate roles to males. It is females that abandon traditionalism and the nuclear family. Female deference was the compensation for males' willing disposability to protect family and community. Now that females do not fulfill their ends, males are crying foul. But why would females continue to play such a stifling role when they can have more without dependence on a single provider?